Good morning! Today's video is going to be a bit different from what I usually post, but it's something that's been nagging at me at the back of my mind for weeks now. So I'm sorry for the lack of editing. I wanted to try to get this out before the patch dropped. Who knows if I do, honestly, at this point. I'm not too sure because the patch drops literally tomorrow, but I'm sure you've seen plenty of people talk about this, today's topic, from other Genshin content creators to Twitter and TikTok users and more. And of course, we're talking about the third Lantern Rite gifts we'll be receiving in patch 4.4. I'm not happy about it. You're not happy about it. And honestly, I can't imagine a single person who is happy about the rewards we'll be getting for our loyalty to Hoyoverse and Genshin Impact as a whole. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been playing Genshin Impact almost every single day since launch, aside from when I lost my 50-50 during Xiao's first banner and I spiraled into nothingness for a few months, but that's neither here nor there. We're moving on. Now, if you missed the 4.4 preview livestream Hoyoverse held on January 19th of 2024, you might not know why we're all so upset. So let's do a quick recap for those of you who need it. Every year during the Lunar New Year season, we also experience the Lantern Rite season in Genshin Impact. It's genuinely my favorite time of the year, full of wonderful memories, and I've met even more wonderful people without fail for the past few years, both inside and outside of Genshin. Lantern Rite is essentially celebrating Lunar New Year inside of Genshin Impact. The event itself is usually pretty long and spans a few weeks. It's typically chock full of mini-games, exploration, quests, new characters meeting and bonding with old characters, and more. Lantern Rite is arguably the biggest and most anticipated event in Genshin Impact, at least for me, other than maybe the Windbloom Festival in Mondstadt. So, with such a huge event, right, naturally, that means even bigger rewards. That is, unfortunately, where you're wrong. The rewards and gifts we get so far have varied per year from Hoyoverse, but this year, roughly 3.5 years after the game's launch, and tons of awards and support given to Hoyoverse by the community, our loyalty is repaid by a generous 3 intertwined fates. But Bear, you might be saying, 3 wishes? 3 whole wishes? Actually, I can't even find something to say that would twist this into something good. 3 wishes. It's 480 primo gems. It's nothing. I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth. We're having a staring contest. There's no bright side, only disappointment. I'm gonna have to talk to someone at Hoyoverse because it looks like they forgot to put a 0 after the 3. Because I feel like, personally, 30 wishes would have been nice, right? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And granted to say, that's not what we're only getting this year, right? We're also getting our annual free 4-star Liyue character with 10 intertwined fates spread out across 15 days. You have to check in every day for 15 days to get those wishes. I'm not sure how the layout of that is this year. I'm sure there'll be other there'll be fragile resin, some talent books, some XP books, scattered around there to somehow total 10 fates across 15 days. But very exciting, we're also getting 3 new skins, 2 of which we have to pay for. Okay, so hopefully you can see how this isn't looking so good for Hoyoverse or us within the Genshin Impact community, because honestly it's kind of embarrassing. Everyone's just saying Genshin would never, and they're right, but they don't have to say it. It's kind of harsh. You're kicking us while we're down. Help us up, at least. And to be honest, it's pretty obvious, or at least it seems so to me, that Genshin Impact rewards and our loyalty in the game is honestly the least of Hoyoverse's concerns. If the games within Hoyoverse were children, Honkai would be the first and most loved, followed by Honkai Star Rail, the 3rd child. Zenless Zen Zero, the newest child, fresh out the oven. Actually, they're not even born yet, to be honest. And in fourth place, we have Genshin Impact, the child who's fed scraps, but also somehow held in higher regard compared to Tears of Themis, who lays forgotten in a storage closet somewhere.
No way. I'm gonna get you out of here. I promise you, I'm gonna get you out of there. You don't belong in there. I'm gonna get you out. I'm gonna get you out of there. I'm gonna do everything it takes to make sure you get out of there. You don't belong in there.
But it's obvious, Honkai Star Rail released in 2023, but players frequently receive 10 free pulls almost every banner. The dailies are easier and reward more pulling currency than we get for commissions in Genshin. There's quality of life aspects we've been begging for years to be put into Genshin. We literally got a free 5-star character like a few weeks ago because Honkai Star Rail won an award, or were nominated for an award, or something like that. Meanwhile, what do we get when Genshin wins an award? It's 800 Primo Gems, which ironically is still more than what we're getting in patch 4.4 for our 3.5 years of strong and devout loyalty. But as someone who started playing Genshin Impact since launch and came from my lord and savior Grand Blue Fantasy, who frequently rewards players a few times a year with a roulette system where you can get up to 200 free pulls per day during their anniversary season, it's a hard pill to swallow going from a game where the devs very obviously care so much about their player base and actually listen to feedback, to a game where I feel ignored after asking for the same changes for years and with barely any content to get through once done with the main story quest. And not to compare apples to oranges, because Grand Blue Fantasy is definitely a completely different game and more intense than Genshin Impact, but still the lack of end-game content or between patch content that aren't events that last a week with mini games that don't really feel worth it. They're not fun, they're not refreshing, and they're not bad. They're just, they're kind of the same events that we get every few months. And kind of having to dig through the couch cushions for Primo Gems through chests or reputation quests or world quests or side quests, or it gets kind of exhausting at the end of the day. But why doesn't Hoyoverse care, right? When we have so many criticisms regarding the game, whether it be about gameplay mechanics or characters not being faithful to the regions they were based on, or like the situation right now where we don't feel like we're properly being compensated for our loyalty and efforts to promote and continue playing this game, even when it's hard and feels like a drag. And this might be a bit harsh, and honestly, I don't like saying it because I don't think it's the only reason, but I definitely think it's a reason, and that is I genuinely believe Hoyoverse just views Genshin fans and players as ATMs. After all, Genshin Impact is one of the highest grossing mobile games in the world and made 2 billion USD in its first year after launch, which is insane to me. Guys, we were in a pandemic. Where did you guys get all that money from, and why didn't you tell me? I thought we were friends, but I guess not, apparently. It's kind of messed up, but all jokes aside, I can understand, and not that I'm happy about it, why Hoyoverse focuses on what will make them money out of Genshin Impact as opposed to what will make us as players happy. But if those two things happen to align, then so be it. It's kind of like an afterthought. You might be thinking, if you miss Grand Blue Fantasy so much, why don't you go back to it? If you hate Genshin Impact so much, why don't you stop playing? And I don't want to. I don't want to stop playing. Genuinely, I love Genshin Impact. I love the characters and their designs, and I love the friends I've made through the game. I love the events and the world quests, and I love and appreciate the care and love that Hoyoverse puts into the game when they actually care. And it's okay to criticize something you love, which somehow is a concept that a lot of people struggle to grasp. If you're unhappy with a product or see ways that it can be improved, those things should be brought to attention, right? If someone does something to hurt or upset you, you tell them so they can reflect and do better, right? But also, if I'm being honest, I also think it's because of something called the sunk cost fallacy. I have spent so much money on Genshin Impact, and I'm not a whale. I don't make money from YouTube or Twitch or TikTok or anything like that. I'm just a regular schmegular person working in a minimum wage job and trying to play for college. But regardless, I have spent a sizable amount of money on the game the last almost 3.5 years, and I don't want it to go to waste, And I know there are plenty of whales that just pawn off or sell or even let their accounts gather dust once they find a new game they want to spend their money on. But a majority of Genshin's player base are not whales. A majority of Genshin's player base are people like you and like me. Broke. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But like realistically, right? Who would willingly abandon their account after spending $100, $1,000, or more dollars trying to secure their favorite character or characters or weapons? You know, there's nothing wrong with doing that, so to speak, but it makes it that much harder. But it's not like there's nothing Hoyoverse can do. After all, they're the ones not being receptive to our feedback and doing whatever it is that they're doing when they ignore us and our valid complaints and in-game surveys. Which, speaking of, why do they even put those out? I feel like do they have like a team at the company that actually goes through them and brings them up in like team meetings and huddles? Like, what's going on? Hello? Can I do that? I'll do it. Hire me. I'll do it. I don't care. I'll do it. It's okay. I'll do it. Don't worry about it. I'll do it. I'm right here. But anyway, getting back on track, there are things Hoyoverse can do to do better, and obviously it doesn't have to all be at once, but small progress is any progress. Baby steps are still steps. I honestly think whoever on the Genshin team decides how many primos or wishes we get needs to meet up with like the Honkai Star Rail team, because the 10 free wishes every banner or so that we get in Honkai Star Rail is delightful, to say the least. It actually makes me look forward to logging on more often so I don't miss it. Granted, do I? No. But do I think about it? Yes. But I also think it would be nice if we could get more primos when we complete commissions. As it is, we receive 60 primos daily for completing commissions and collecting the daily commission bonus from Catherine. If you save up those primo gems, it will take you slightly less than a month to have enough for a 10 pull. That's embarrassing. Like, even for me, like, you're making me feel broke in game too, especially when hard pity in Genshin is 90 pulls. Like, Miss Hoyoverse, please be so for real right now, because I can't keep living like this. Increasing the resin cap would also be nice, or giving us the option to let our resin overflow and store the same way energy in Honkai Star Rail does. I really hope they don't underestimate how much that quality of life change in Honkai Star Rail has benefited me. It's genuinely one of my favorite things they've ever done. Ever, probably. Other than, Xiao. But we don't have to talk about that. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm running out of ideas. I've got nothing. I'm running on 2 hours of sleep, so I've thought about as much as I could today. But you get it. I just gave you 3 free ideas, Hoyoverse. Please take them. And not just with a grain of salt, but preferably a huge Himalayan salt rock lamp size a grain of salt. Like a whole ore deposit of salt even. Or like, the ocean and how it has salt water? Imagine you take all the water out and you just have salt. Or like, when you're playing Minecraft and you come across a huge coal deposit and it's like never ending and it takes you like 2 hours to mine it all, and by the time you're done, you're exhausted and delusional and waiting for the sweet embrace of death. Like that.